Hi, I'm Ben Province, and welcome to Show Me the Music. On today's show, I'll get to talk to one of the most versatile artists St. Louis has to offer.
Gregory Bowdry, aka Stringz EMB, isn't the easiest artist to define, and I think he likes it best that way. Blending elements of R&B, reggae, and even the occasional rock guitar, the singer's style mixes synthetic and live instruments. The result is something both unique and familiar, and that's evident on his sophomore album, Legato. But as you'll quickly learn, Stringz isn't just limiting himself to music.
We have to acknowledge that there is hot sauce on this table. It's the first time in the history of Show Me the Music, this is his 9th season, that we've had hot sauce on this table. This is yours, Monster Sauce.
Yes.
Tell me all about it.
So hot sauce is pretty much a love of mine. My wife and I, shout out to Dr. Tebow, we actually stopped eating meat back in December. Well, I stopped eating meat back in December of 2018. She stopped eating it a bit earlier, but before then, I was a hot wing head. I'm that guy. Every city we go to, every place, I want to taste your hot wings. I want to taste your different sauces. So I was just all about that. When I stopped eating meat, I still had that love, obviously, for flavor and love for hot sauces. So maybe a little while after I stopped eating meat, I started creating my own hot sauce, because when we would travel like to different cities, different countries, I'm that guy who would go to different grocery stores to try this brand, this flavor, this level, because I want to test my limits and I want to see who has the best hot sauce, whether it's spice or flavor. And just out of that search, or that attempted search, I kind of found myself in a position where I just didn't find what I was looking for. I didn't have that level of flavor, or I didn't have that spice level, so I just started creating my own. I actually took my family to Mexico last summer, and I take my sauce with me before bottling, before label, anything cool. And I took it with us, and we had met this family out there. Shout out to Tim. He saw me pull out my sauce and put it on my food and asked, could he taste it? He said, and he tasted it. He said, bro, if you ever start selling this, you won't have to work a day again in your life. Got back into town a few weeks later, I started selling. We sold out. People instantly hit me up like 2 days later, and I was like, oh, wow, maybe I did create something. But my buddy in Mexico lied to me, because ever since I started making it, I've been working way harder than, because, I mean, delivering and making, but it's it's a labor of love, really.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry, I talk a lot.
No, I love that. This is a talk show, so it works out.
True indeed.
Yeah, you're doing great. Where can people go and order that?
So actually, all right, you can go to my website. It's eosonothebrand.com. It's my clothing brand, but as a piece of my merch, it's sold there.
All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So you have a new record out as well.
Yes,
You're
I do.
staying so busy, man.
Legato.
There you go.
You got it right.
I got it right.
You got it right, baby.
And why did you pick that title?
Okay, so back in 2013, I was in the midst of basically just bounce between jobs, and I was like, all right, in the midst of these jobs, I want to actually create a product that I can feel good about myself, and I can actually sell it and push myself instead of pushing another company's product. So that's when I came up with Io Sono, which is Italian for I am. It was just my way of just staying as authentic to myself, but also creating something that people would want to have or yearn for. Mm-hmm. So within this being Italian, I did, it's a long, not necessarily a long story, but I did the clothing brand Italian just because clothing and Italian fashion kind of fall in line. So I try to keep that idea of the language within my music. So my very first project was Anchor. I put out in 2019. Mm-hmm. My second project, which is the one that's out now, is second part of a trilogy. But the first one is Anchor. The second one is Legato, which is Italian for is tied to. Mm-hmm. And my third album, which I'm working on now, I'll reveal to the world what I'm tied to.
Mm-hmm. Well, on this record,
yes,
you deal with elements of humility, mental health, depression, and I wanted to focus a little bit. You told me off camera you were comfortable sharing some of your personal struggles mm-hmm. with mental health.
Indeed. So I believe that honestly, all of us come in contact with some level of depression, some level of anxiety, some level of doubt, because sometimes it starts as simple as doubt, depending on what you're doing in life. And me just basically talking about it it gave me an opportunity for me to help myself walk through it, but in the midst of me creating it into song form, it's my hope to create something that somebody else is going through, something maybe heavier than I'm going through. It'll help them through their days. As far as for my life, my songs that I refer to about mental health, it's about me, but honestly, a lot of my music and my direction within that mental health space is directed towards my younger brother, Brandon. He was a professional basketball player, great player. He's out of St. Louis, moved up to Detroit, Michigan, but an incredible player. When they moved up to Detroit, if you know anything about Detroit, Detroit is all about cars and basketball. So he was in the mix with Draymond Green, Jordan Crawford, just a lot of heavy hitters that are now in the NBA. And obviously, his path wasn't as pretty as those guys. He went through a mid-major college, even though he was good enough. He chose a mid-major college over some other colleges just because of the inexperience and the lack of knowledge of knowing where to go. So his journey was just a little bit tougher, and ultimately that's what it was. Seeing his buddies in these positions kind of got to him, and at the brink of it all, he kind of backed himself away. He and myself were the closest of close. Road dogs, did everything together. But at the brink of his break mentally, he just backed away from me. So it's something that I understand that he can't control. So I just do my very best to try to tap in with my music in hopes that he listens to it every now and then, whether he falls in love with it or not. But just to know, brother, I love you, and I pray that everything works out. Even though it's something that I can't do for you, you have to find that way to do it for yourself. But this is my attempt to provide medicine to you.
I think that's wonderful that you're doing that. Another thing I want to touch on with this record is humility is another big topic. Claim your win, but please stay humble.
Indeed.
What does that mean?
So, I mean, you always have ego, and you have confidence, and I think it's in myself. I feel like, obviously, I don't feel like I'm the best, but I feel like I am good. I feel like there's a quality that I provide that no one else can do. So that song and that part was me talking to myself. It's me understanding that I am one of one. I am Stringz. There's nothing like me. I am the best within my particular lane. But young man, claim your win and stay humble. So you can, at the same time, you can win and you can get all these accolades, you can claim all of the trophies, and you can be worth it all. But at the same time, look at everyone as if you have nothing. Because if you can approach the janitor the same way you approach the president, then that's character, and that's going to take you farther than anywhere. Anyway. So it's just basically me self-noting to myself to stay noble, stay humble, and just move like a gentleman at all times.
Yeah, because if you lose the humility and you lose compassion for others, you got nothing.
Yeah, nothing. All of my songs, they're all centered and cored around love and life. And obviously within those two walks, we have pain, we have sorrow. So I just try to do my very best to just combine it all, create the most realistic story that we all can resonate, we all can relate to. And I want to make it as melodic as possible. I want to become that music or that sound that you play while you're washing dishes, while you're folding clothes, while you're watching maybe even your favorite television show. Turn me down, but turn me on.
Yeah.
I want to be that. I want to be, and that's why I try to do my very best to put positive notions in all of my music. We have enough negativity. We have enough killing or whatever else. I'm no shame on anybody else, but we have enough of that. Let's put a little bit more love. Let's put a little bit more faith. Let's put a little bit more hope into the music and into the sounds, because that's what the children listen to. I have 2 little children, so I'm here to try to create the best example as I possibly can.
Yeah. And one thing I noticed about your record is so much of your artistic identity is tied up in being a family man and caring about your wife and your kids. And you wrote the song Loveless about your wife. And it sounds like without love, but it's actually the opposite. And I'd like you to explain that if you could.
Yep, exactly. And honestly, I wrote this song I wrote that song so long ago, probably in 2014, right when I started writing songs. It's very possible that my very first song that I wrote was called Time, and the second song was Loveless. So I wrote it back in 2014. I just didn't do anything with it until on my most previous album. But basically, yeah, it's a story about love, but from a perspective of not having that love or not losing, or losing that love, because the sense of loss is probably the easiest way of understanding what we have. We take a lot of things for granted, but just like walking, you take for granted because you walk everywhere, but you don't really care about or think about walking until you can't walk. So my song Loveless it's a love story, basically shining that light on just recognizing, understanding, and appreciating love by thinking about what you would do if you didn't have that love. So yeah, just a love story to my wife.
No, I can't go a day without my love. I float on the thought of you feeling wavy. Call me crazy, but I can't go without my baby. Without my love.
The last question I wanted to ask is, you said you want your success to be a shining light on St. Louis. What do you mean by that? How do we shine a light on the great work artists are doing here in St. Louis?
So I mean, St. Louis, we are a beautiful, beautiful city. Honestly, whenever people think about music, they tend to think about other cities like your Atlantas, your LAs, your New Yorks, anywhere down south. But realistically, I mean, just thinking about it regionally, St. Louis is pretty much right in the middle. We have what New York has up north. We have what Atlanta has from down south. We have what LA has from the West Coast. Only thing that we're lacking is the unity. So I don't necessarily know if it's more about what St. Louis needs to do other than work together more. If we combine our powers like transformers and actually push the platforms that we have, push the talent that we have, push the notion of wanting to succeed that we really have. Because everybody, I mean, I can't say everybody, but some people just make music or they just create just for fun, and that's awesome. But some of us are actually creating because we want to push. We want to show you what it is that we have available for you. We want to attract you. Come to St. Louis and come see what we have.
Thank you so much for doing this. It's been a lot of fun.
Of course, yeah, it has been. It really has.
Absolutely. And you're watching Show Me the Music.
Sometimes I want to go blast off in a rocket. Then I see you. You made me wanna come back down to earth. Come back.
For more information, visit StringzEMB.com. His latest record, A Legato is available now.
Now it's time for a Show Me the Music update. Let's check in with Draco.
Yo, thank you so much, Ben. Now, Union, Missouri native KG Lillian saw her musical dreams take her to Austin, Texas, when she was a member of the indie pop trio January-May. Now, after a brief stop back in her hometown to begin her career as a solo artist, the singer-songwriter has recently returned to Austin, but she hasn't forgotten her Missouri roots. Members of the St. Louis band Fivefold worked with her on her latest single, Feel Like Me. To learn more, visit kglillian.com. Back to you, Ben.
Thanks, Draco. And that'll do it for today's show. I want to give a big thank you to our guest, Stringz EMB. And on behalf of the entire team, my name is Ben Province, and I'm asking you to show me the music.